Hey, my name is Matt Kendricks. So I want to talk to you about building a $1 million business based on an open source project. That's what I did. That's what I'm still continuing to do. I've been doing open source for a long time. It actually dates back all the way to basically 20 something years ago. I started working for a company by the name of Sun Microsystems. And Sun Microsystems was kind of like the Google of today. And and actually quite funny is that the Google offices, the old Sun offices. So the what I learned when I worked at Sun Microsystems was a couple of different things. But the first thing is that as soon as I was hired into Sun Microsystems, and actually I was hired explicitly for a special project or a special subsidiary, I guess, that was a combination or joint partnership that was between Netscape and Sun Microsystems. It was called iPlanet. So it was a middleware company that was building like application servers. Like think of it as like Kubernetes of today, right? So just basically trying to take away all of the plumbing that's needed to run applications at scale is what they were building. And other middleware software as well. I was selling web servers and things of that nature. Um, I think it was even news servers, and I think also was yeah, I think it was news servers as well. I don't remember what else was being sold, but um, the thing I learned though, being part of that company, I started off as being a a enterprise support account manager. So I was actually stationed at Ford, and my whole role was to help them get through any hurdles of deploying the Netscape browser throughout their enterprise, like throughout the world, basically. And that's when I realized that companies were taking open source software because Netscape browser was based on the Mosaic browser. I think it was Mosaic, how you say Mosaic browser. And so basically, Netscape had took this browser and created an enterprise version and was monetizing the browser, and that super intrigued me. So basically, my whole career has been around selling, enterprise software that was based on open source software, and I think that's the one unique thing. Well, I have a couple of unique things about me, but that is a pretty unique thing for me when I start seeing and out here working with with colleagues of mine that are trying to, take their open source project and actually monetize it. I've seen it done at scale very, very well. So I'm able to take that experience and actually use it to grow my own open source projects and monetize them. But now I'm starting to see that I want to share that experience with other folks because I think people use open source software for different things, right? I think if you look at it, some people use it for if you're a up and coming computer science student or if you're somebody who wants to get into software development. It's a great way for being able to show your skills, right? So either you contribute to an existing open source project or you start your own open source project, but it's a way that you can build up your resume. That's not what I'm going to be focused on in this these talks that I'll be giving. Um, but I'm more focused on how do build a a 6 7 figure business on open source software. Um, but that's one. So one is like, hey, I want to build my resume. Two is that you're starting your own company and you want to be able to build traction in whatever product that you're building. So you open source the project. You hope that other people will contribute to the project. You get buzz, you get traction, and then you come out with plugin or enterprise version of that open source software. So it's a great way for being able to um, what I call like air cover. Like you can start having it so that people on the ground, developers um, are downloading it, using it, and they become what I call the air cover because now when you go call in to a enterprise and you're trying to sell your solution, now it's going to be more like, oh yeah, I've heard about that. This developer that's on our staff has been using it for some months now or for years now, and yeah, come talk to us about what your enterprise version looks like. So it provides a way to get in the door, without having to do all the cold calling and the back-to-back calls and trying to chase down people in order to do it. So it's a great way of like getting the product into the hands of people, and hopefully that'll actually grow into you becoming to a point where you can sell an enterprise version or sell a support agreement. So that's two. And then I think the third approach, reason why I use open source people use open source software, is that they are trying to get a product built. Maybe they don't have a lot of money. Maybe they're trying to leverage the human capital that's out there by coming up with a project that's a great idea and cultivating and getting people to the point where they want to contribute to the project. So now you're building a development team around this product that you want to build, and it's actually pretty cool because it actually teaches you how to manage a distributed workforce. Getting people to do stuff when they're not getting paid is a skill. Like that is like people underestimate that. Like running an open source project has been tremendously difficult because what I find is that, and there's different levels of that, and I'll get into this a little bit later, or if it's not this video, in an upcoming video, is that there's a lot of people who don't want to contribute to open source. They want to be takers of open source software. So, you need to have strategies in order to handle those folks as well, because those people are beneficial to you. You just need to understand and know how to activate them as needed, and you have to make sure that your product is configured in such a way that it makes it they don't get everything with the open source project. Like you have to have some way, some hooks in order to force people to either contribute or to purchase your product. And if you give everything away for free, there's going to be very little incentive for them to help you build the project or to help by becoming a paid customer of the product. So all those things kind of goes into play when building an open source project. And I think the big thing you need to do is figure out where do you want to start. Do you really want to start with just you know building a project and like the bare bones of a project and trying to convince people to contribute to the project, or are you thinking about monetizing from the very start? So those are all the things you need to think about. So I'm going to share some of my stories about how I got started. So so my project is called DSIP Router, and DSIP Router is really around making Camilio easy. Camilio is a very known open source SIP proxy, but it's super complicated to understand and learn. Like the learning curve is pretty huge. So when I started learning Camilio and started working with customers and helping them deploy Camilio, I found that we were building the same thing over and over again for people. And And I found that um, a lot of people were scared of Camillio because it was just hard to grasp. So I really wanted to take the complexity of Camillio and and make it simplistic for someone to be able to use. And that's what DSIP Router does. It's a UI for Camillio, uh, and and I think for me, it was definitely from the get go. I was thinking about how can we monetize this. In particular, I was thinking like, you know what, we build a lot of projects, or we do a lot of projects now that's Camillio based. At the worst case, we can at least use it as a baseline for all of our consulting projects that we're working on. And so I figured that we could still charge the same amount of money, but we're able to deliver a product faster. And it will make it so that we can still customize it, but make it but do it via a framework and be able to do it in a more standard way. So for me, it was always about some level of monetization. Originally, it was really around, hey, how can we use this to make our consulting engagements better, faster, more profitable? But then I kind of started over years, started moving more towards how do we build a subscription business around it? How do we make it so that we don't have to go off and look for new customers every month, or hope that somebody signs a statement of work with us so that we can pay our staff and be able to survive another month. So moving to a more subscription based model was definitely a game changer for us. Hey y'all just watched episode 1 of building a $1 million open source business. Please click the subscribe button if you got value out of this. This will also let me know if I'm on the right track with the type of content you want to see. All right, so talk to you soon. Take care.